You're muted, by the way.
Welcome to the show where I don't know how to actually push the buttons. I'm Chris Brogan. I'm your host. This is Kerry and We've been doing this for 4 years, but we changed up the format. Next thing you know, we poop the bed all over the place. Hi, Kerry. How are you doing today? What's going
on? Were you muted the entire time you were talking in the beginning?
I'm going to throw my laptop in the bushes. That's what I'm going to do. Hello, Dad. Hello, Mom. Hi, Chloe, my fasting partner, day 6. Oh, my God, I would eat a book right now. Kerry, we've been doing stuff to kind of prepare for Play for Time. I didn't tell you because I forgot until this moment because you know me. My longtime collaborator, Josh, has sent me some graphics for you and me to look at. Just a sketch, just an idea, just a concept. And as always, first time he nailed it. So I'm going to send it to you later, but it's going to really cover this idea, especially with places in time, especially with our special interests. I think it's going to be fun. How are you? What's been news with you and what's going on in your plans for the show?
So it's interesting. It's a whole different ball of wax to create produced segments. It never goes as fast as you think it's going to. So that's been interesting. I think it'll be fun. Like it's definitely in line with your very messy brand. Like you. So I'm like, I don't know. We have at times gone to execute on what's a very nice idea to discover that there's like a generator playing on the beach. So we're going to play a clip today. I hope it'll finish uploading where you just like can't not hear it. There's just somebody running a generator on the freaking beach at 5 a.m. Why? I don't know. Does anybody need to know? So we're like learning along the way how that not doing a show live with guests still has a lot of surprises.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love this though. I love the messy learning experience. It's not great to be an audience member for it. It's not the way it should go. Like we should really be like, have our crap together, put it in a bag and sell it at the crap store. But we should definitely have this, but we're learning. So like one of the things we learned is, holy cow, we accidentally made a show that has a really heavy reliance on pre-work. And you and I both have pretty active jobs, like pre-work, like we're so much better at winging it. Just invite a guest to show up at this time, have everyone show up. I'll have good questions. You'll have good questions. We'll get it done. This is the opposite of that, isn't it? So we've had to produce some stuff. Talk a little bit about this experience though, because you're used to being the talent. You're not used to being the chopper, cutter, scratcher, fixer. What was it like, for instance, we've got one segment we're going to show from you about tea. Tell me a little bit about what it took to put that together.
First of all, we did not plan on doing that. And we definitely didn't plan on doing it the day that we did it. So we decided at the last minute to go and do that segment. And that meant getting to the location, having a reservation, because sometimes you can't just like walk into a place for tea. And it also involved me being okay with the fact that I looked like garbage. Like I didn't get up for it. I didn't put my makeup on. I was like wearing whatever I was wearing. We had to go right then. So yeah, it's been interesting. I mean, it's to the extent that the segment is about us, at least it's easy enough for me to know what I'm going to say. Like there's not outlining and scripting and storyboarding and stuff like that. It's still very much impromptu, flying by the seat of our pants. It's just like we have like 11% of a plan.
We're flying by the seat and the legs of our pants or something like that. So this clip is from that tea thing. We went to a nice little tea room in Beverly, Mass, which is the town right beside Salem, Mass, also where both my babies were born. So I have a certain affinity to Beverly. This thing's about a 2-ish minute clip. Why don't you run it and then we'll talk about it right after the fact.
Coming to a tea room isn't exactly something one does in the 21st century. Why are we here? Why do you like tea rooms?
For me, it's like I like history, so it's a little bit of a step into the past. So high tea, started in the 1800s. Anna, the 7th Duchess of Bedford, would get peckish between the afternoon and dinner, because I guess people used to eat dinner like really stupid late. So she started having a collection of like little teas and cakes and stuff and sandwiches brought to her in the afternoon, and it was perfect. It like held her over till dinner. So I love it because it feels decadent and it's a good chance to get together and talk with family members, usually female family members, I'll be honest, friends. But it's nice. It feels like quaint or something. So we're at Jolie Tea Company in Beverly, Mass, and we have a massive assortment of teas that we can choose from. These are just the black teas. There's also white ones, oolongs. Well, I guess oolongs are black, but they listed out separate. Green teas. Pretty much everything you can think of. So, and herbals, of course, herbals. So come out for tea. So another reason I like to come for tea is because it's not really about the tea. It's about the tiny little sandwiches that you get with the tea. There are like cucumber sandwiches, sometimes an egg salad or chicken salad, sometimes salmon, ham and brie, like really good little classy finger sandwiches. There's also usually scones, which are delicious and usually come with cream. And sometimes a little side of fruit is like a special order. It all depends how traditional your tea is. But it also comes with pastries, like little dessert pastries, madeleines or macaroons sometimes, or little petit fours, the ones that look like tiny little decorated cakes.
Thank you. Tea was great. It requires a certain kind of mentality and mindset, and it was exciting to give it a try. There's so much to unpack there. Like you said, we weren't planning to do that when we went off to do it. So it was like surprises all around. And for instance, me running your camera, I'm doing the B-roll, and like I just see wobbles everywhere. Like I was throwing the camera at the things I was trying to shoot. What do you see when you look at that?
My makeup and lack of it. But no, yeah, I liked it. I mean, considering that we made that plan, mere seconds, I think it came out all right. But first of all, you have to be interested in the idea that we're going to be sharing our special interests like nerds. And if you're not, I apologize. But damn, was it funny. I edited that thing. It's good practice for me on our equipment. It's good practice for me like trying to even out stuff. It didn't work entirely, but it's okay. But your face, oh my God. You just so obviously are never ever going to do it again. And I think that's the part I liked. Also, Chloe says she likes the messy. She feels like they get to be part of the process. Yes, you do. Of course you do. And Michael agrees. So good, because messy's what we've got.
That's all we got is messy. I can say that going to a tea room is not my cup of tea. Speaking of which, I made you some Earl Grey tea today. Did I do a right job? How am I at making tea at home, at least?
Very good. Better than Starbucks. Starbucks waters down my tea all the time, my iced tea.
You get the opposite with me. I steep it until it's probably English people wouldn't even drink it. So listen, I made a special interest piece as well, and mine was about, kind of just chopping up a book, but it's a little more than that.
So I bought this book about Daido Moriyama because I'd taken it out of the library 3 different times. And so what I felt like I should probably do is buy it, because I thought, you know what I could do? I could slice some of these pictures up and make them into things to hang on my wall. For instance, this picture, Stray Dog, one of Moriyama's most famous prints. So I sliced that up with my little handy dandy box cutter. And then I went and I looked around to find a frame that I already had, like an 8.5 by 11 frame. There's one, that'll do. Cracked it open, and I stuck the picture inside of it, and I think that's going to work just fine. So this book has so many gazillions of pictures that are some of the best of Daido Moriyama. And what I love about him is they're such high contrast. They're so crazy. Like if you look at his work, that's a stray dog, but it just looks so otherworldly. So I hung it up, and it's a quick, fast, easy way to make some art that really inspires me, put it on the wall, and give it a go. Now I'm just going to take a look around and see if I can find a couple other photos that I might want to put on the wall as well. Who knows?
Looks really nice.
His work is black and white. Super. I don't know how to run buttons. What is this? Where am I even? Go back to bed, Grandpa. Super high contrast, very black and white. He's known for not even looking through the viewfinder a lot of times. He would just walk down the street snapping shots and just get what he got. Back in the days of film, not even like digital, where it's not that much money or effort to do that, he would just shoot. And I thought, wow, this is crazy. That stray dog picture is like probably his most famous picture, and I just thought it was so cool. But there's so much more to that story. But I just did that to start practicing what we're doing with this whole idea of play for time. So that's why I put that together. Any thoughts or impressions?
Yeah, it looks better than mine, and I had like 5 seconds to do mine, so feeling like a little bit like the poor cousin over here. And my clip won't even upload, so I'll probably have to share my screen. It's going great, you guys. It's going great.
You could share screens. That's going to work. Annette says practice makes better. All good examples that we can get better when we do consistently. Even the buttons, yes, because I clearly don't know how to push the buttons. While you're setting up for sharing screen, I'm going to show a 4-minute video that I just threw up on YouTube. This is just for Chris Brogan. Like, it's not meant for play for time, but I'll show it because it just keeps going with the theme of we're making stuff, we're preparing segments and all that. So this is a segment I shot today myself. And this is just a quick run through of an idea that I had. So let me push play on this. If you're like me, maybe you're bad at taking advice. I am the worst at taking advice. But there's another way to go about doing the same thing, which is you can put it in your test lab. Let me tell you what I mean. The idea simply is that if someone says to you, you're good with, let's use photography for my example, you're good with the camera you have. And you think to yourself, but I don't feel that way. I feel like I need a better camera. One thing you could do is test it. You could test people's advice, meaning you don't have to take the person's advice. You can take the idea, bring it into your lab. What does that mean? A test lab in the world is when you have something that you're trying to figure out and you don't want to bring it to the world at large, but you definitely want to see it happen. So a test lab is where you say, okay, I've made it this way. Could I make it a different way? Or I've got this sort of setup. Would it be different if I had another kind of setup? So you could do this with ideas. You can test ideas in your own little lab instead of taking the person's advice in my example, for instance. So let's talk about what that means. So what are the things that people use in a lab? They have a set of rules. They have a system. So let's do the same kind of system. Step 1, define the hypothesis and the variables. Let's say we use the example of someone says to me, you really should skip dinner instead of skip breakfast. And I think, well, that's weird. Everyone always says skip breakfast. Why skip dinner? Like if you're trying to lose weight. So define the hypothesis, skipping dinner is better than skipping breakfast, and the variables. Maybe the difference of different foods that you eat, different kinds of choices, different moods, different environments. Like for instance, if you're out doing events and stuff like that, dinners are usually where business happens. So you maybe can't skip dinners. So the variables, right? The second one is you select the participants, in this case, you, but like in general in labs, that's what you do. Third is you have to establish controls. So maybe you say, if I skip breakfast for a whole week, I will start eating at 12 every day and not really have an end time. And if I skip dinner every week, I will stop eating at 2 p.m. and then call that good. I could eat anytime before 2 p.m., but 2 p.m. shuts it off, right? So those are sort of establishing those controlled conditions. 4, you've got to measure and do data collection. Now, what would you measure? So you could say, if you're testing for weight loss, you would measure just by the scale. Did I lose more weight in the week that I skipped breakfast? Did I lose more weight that I skipped dinner? But that means we have to add a certain kind of control. I can't eat different foods on the week that I skip breakfast and eat different foods on the week that I skip dinner. But think about that. Breakfast foods are different than dinner foods. Dinner foods can be big, fat, juicy steaks. Breakfast foods can be pancakes, eggs, all that juicy sausage or whatever. See what I'm saying? So you have to sort of set up those conditions.
and then sort of measure. And if you're going to measure, maybe measure for more than a couple things. Now, this sounds like a lot when we're talking about ourselves, but how are you going to know it worked or didn't work? The next is you have to do set up a certain kind of observation period. Like if you say, I'm going to skip one breakfast and one dinner and see what the difference is, that's not going to do us anything. We're not going to know anything. But maybe there's kind of a difference in between. And then last is sort of evaluate and adjust, because what scientists do not do is take an idea, try the idea, figure out the idea failed and said, well, guess we're done. They pick up a new version of an idea. So that's the idea of building a lab for yourself. So back to me specifically, I am not great at taking other people's advice. I feel like I have to run off every cliff. I have to fail in my own way, usually grand failures. I have to try the things they do. If they say, don't touch the stove, it's hot, I have to touch the stove. Wish I didn't. It's just who I am. It's just how I act. It's how I operate. I don't know. But if you know this about yourself, you can set up things in the way that best helps you get through it the best way. The other thing when I talk about all this is that when you take other people's advice, the advice comes from the way that it worked best for that one individual person. That's not you. That's what humanity is about, is that we can be different people. So when you get advice, take it, consider it, but bring it to your lab. Are you with me? Let's go be scientists.
We did it.
Well, has that day come when I am finally retiring my old film scanners?
Help me. Okay, I made it. So that was just the whole thing on making a test lab. But that's us, we're practicing our editing. I even went and got Camtasia 2024 because my partner in crime is doing the same sort of thing. So Kerry, you had one more segment, and then everyone stick around just for a couple minutes more because I need your help and we're going to bring it up at the end. Kerry, what do you got?
Okay, first of all, I have no idea if this is going to work or not. So that's one thing. Another thing is we already had a stream for this show. So sorry if you were sitting over on the stream that I created for this show on Monday because somebody thought, of course, I had not made one. So I am sorry for that. Anywho, welcome to what we've got under construction. Welcome to the insanity. I have no idea if this video is going to work or not. Not gonna work. I'm gonna try to present it a different way.
Alrighty. Well, then I guess I could do my pleading. I didn't know about the other stream. Sorry, other stream people. I asked this morning, hey, did you make a stream? No, not yet. And then I was like, okay. But, Kerry was actually prescient and made the stream way ahead of time. So there we go. Thanks, Michael. So
okay, now I think it might work.
Okay, then jump right in. Here you go. Salisbury Beach, which I photographed all summer long, and obviously it's November, so there's no one coming to the beach today. It's also rainy, and it's also not even sunrise. And I thought I would look at sort of how seasons change. This is a vacation spot. Hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people come here. Some amount of people come here. And I wanted to just get some footage of everything shut down. I think we sort of get into this idea of decay, of entropy, of things slowing, and one whole person's here. So that's kind of what I get into. I don't know if it'll translate, but just that eerie feeling, that feeling of being alone, that feeling of we're not supposed to be here, and it's everything shut down. It's like the perfect scene for a zombie assault or a horror movie or somebody with a broken thing. And there's so many things because this is like a boardwalk full of, kids are supposed to come here and have fun. There's all these playlands and arcades and skee ball and toys and cotton candy, and it's all shut down. Gotta capture it somehow. I don't know. I hope I do. Well, that worked out, and I know you were like really concerned about the
200 millimeters, which on this camera is.
Oh, is there more?
Like 85 to
Keep going.
300. So it means that I'm zooming out. I can catch a very tight, small detail. I can catch a bit of a scene, but what I can't do is if I put it on you, I can see like your eyeball. So it's kind of fun. It's amazing. You ready? It's amazing seeing the ocean. I've always said to people, the ocean's free therapy. Like, if you could be near it. I live, 15 minutes away? I almost never come here. And this gives me a reason to get out of the house and do that. It's just amazing what you feel when you're at a place like this. You want to see a little bit of what I got, and I haven't gone through these yet, but this is like some kind of overlook thing on the beach. I'm hoping that's going to look nice in color. We'll see. It might be that these all have to stay black and white. I got this person shooting video with their phone. Seagull, lady walking her pukey dog. We got some birds. Same lady. A few shots just because I was kind of looking for a different angle on it. Somebody way down the beach. Got a bird. I'm going to zoom in on that bird though, and it'll look like I was standing on top of him. Under the pier, another bird. The corruption and stuff down there. Old shop that's just lit up at breakfast. Just look through a window. A couple more things.
Now it's over.
Who even are we?
It's going great.
Yeah. So that was a place and time. So one of the segments that we're kind of fudging with now is this idea of a place and time, which is, it could be anything. It could be history. It could be just a place in a moment. So I was trying to capture the desolation of a beach after, like a vacation spot when there's no vacationers around. And you did a great job of capturing that. Sorry, I stopped your video quick by mistake. I was a little confused, as always. But what did you, anything you picked up from that? Anything you want to comment on that?
Oh boy. First of all, Dean, you're not tardy. The show begins whenever you arrive. This isn't even a show. There's another stream somewhere. We don't know what's happening. So welcome to the circus. But second of all, yeah, I think I didn't finish that segment. I didn't have time. It's very Chris Brogan in its production. There's no like music bed underneath it and kind of zooms and transitions. I was like, no time for that. I literally had like 20 minutes. So it is what it is. But I laugh the hardest at the things that you do just because you're you. It's not like, wow, what an interesting, thought-provoking point he's making. Like, I enjoy all that. But then when you just go, oh, you wander off, or you're like making faces, it's not because you're doing it for me. You're the camera. You're just doing it. That's my favorite part.
You know how you can tell that 100% is when you realize that the whole back of my head is clearly not been touched by a comb or brush. Every time I turned around in that video, I was like, oh no, because I just saw, I just literally, we got there before sunrise. Like, that is stupid early for normal humans. And so, I get it, but like you were saying earlier about it, I didn't have my makeup on or whatever. Like, I didn't even run a comb through my hair. Like, I was pathetic. So that's pretty funny. Oh, this is interesting. Greg Haley's here. Greg is still one of the best operations people I've ever worked with in my life. We worked at one of my favorite companies I ever worked at, BCG. Chris, this video rang true with me. Wednesday was so nice. I drove to Sandy Neck Beach in Sandwich, as it has no jetties, just a long sweeping beach. That's nice. That's the Cape. That's down where you're from. So relaxing and barren this time of year. Yeah, I totally feel the same way. I like that sense. One of my favorite shots, which was not captured in this, was there was a garbage truck down that kind of side alley and there's people collecting trash, and it's just like that things still go on even when we're not there. And so that's what I liked about that segment.
I would have liked to see your photos. Can you show us your photos that you took? Because we saw them like very small and I would like to see them bigger.
No, but another time. I put them up on LinkedIn randomly, but so listen, let's talk about the thing we want people to do. And I think Michael said it the best way. Michael said, I really love the short and concise segments. We need you to talk about ways you stay engaged 1 minute, just 1 minute tight. Hey, Chris and Kerry, the way I stay engaged is I am climbing a mountain this week. The way I stay engaged is I am going to a quilting bee. The way I stay engaged is I call friends up and we do a weekly tea over Zoom or whatever. It just needs to be like a little 1-minute segment. Kerry, throw out some segment ideas. So you're good at that sort of thing.
It can be literally anything. So some people start a whole nother career. Like some of the guests we had on the backpack show had done that. And that was one of my favorite things about them. So Len Joy, who had a manufacturing career, owned a factory, and then retired from that and started writing mystery novels, doing very successfully. Things like that I love. So if you're starting a second career or a side hustle or even just a hobby, we would love to hear about it. So whether it's like a book club, but you only read like, I don't know, YA, even though you're all grown-ups, or something, like knitting, like some people call it a stitch and bitch. It's not very nice to say, but since this isn't really a show yet, I can say it. But yeah, if that's what you started doing, or if you, I don't know, do a weird junk exchange, like all the weird things people accumulate, and you switch it in the neighborhood, like, hey, instead of a yard sale, let's just all swap because he probably wants some of my junk and I'd probably be into some of your, like whatever kind of stuff you're doing to keep you out there and enjoying life. We do want to hear about it. If it's travel, if you go to like a weird place or a beautiful place that you think we'd enjoy seeing, I take a lot of my photos that way just because I'm in an interesting place. I don't think I'm especially interesting, so I don't get in the photos, but we would love to see you in your video if you're like, this is me and like the world's biggest ball of twine, whatever the thing is.
There's a Weird Al Yankovic song, "The Biggest Ball of Twine in Minnesota." So I'll find some kind of way to be able to show photos on this site. The site itself, StreamYard, it does many great things, and we are sponsored by StreamYard. I should remind us of that. But it does many great things. One thing
They're sponsoring this. Do they know?
They don't know. When they find out, they'll be like, "I'm taking it back." So don't anyone snitch on us. But what I was going to say was that the experience of doing this kind of thing is you learn a few things you can and can't do. So I'm going to try to see if I can present something. Let me see if it will do it. It doesn't have the first clue. Photos. Okay, let's see. Let's see if this works. Douche. Nope. I have to add it to the stage. That works. So there I am. There's my photo app. So these are some of the things I took on the beach. So that's how that one under the bridge came out, under the pier. I like the orange and the green in the back there. These are some birds flying overhead. This is one of the bleak little nothing's there kind of things. This is a place that was closed, but it was lit up because they had a generator going, which is what Kerry was lamenting. But they were like, I guess, doing some work inside there. So they had the generator on. This is just a super zoom up on this. I liked the smudges on the windows and the little bit of neon. It kind of looked mysterious. This is a big full-time merry-go-round that is still runs. Like you can still go there in the off season, it turns out.
Brought to you by Newburyport Bank.
This is a bird and something. There's that clown again. Dude walking on the beach. Kind of thought this one was pretty. I like the sort of creamy look to it. This is that ground swell place again. Another one of this. So when I took that one of the under pinnings, this is the over part of it. It's a lady and her pukey dog. Kerry, do you want to talk about the pukey dog for a second?
I love dogs. So yeah, I was excited. They're walking on the beach. I'm like, oh, so sweet. And then the dog literally pukes. Oh, it was great. She like walked right up to us and the dog puked.
Came really close to right on her shoes and stuff. It was not pleasant. This is the trash truck picture I was talking about. So you can see like there's so much in this picture. There's like, the Coke machine. There's the venues all closed on the right. And it's just kind of a not so great picture, but the ocean's to the left. Like it's just interesting to me that turn left and you get this kind of a look. You turn right, practically the same scene. So beach bums, you could tell it's like a cool place to be in the summertime, but it's closed. There's nobody there. That's it. I just thought that was kind of a neat set of things to capture. And so I used photos for that.
Annette pointed out you did not change your subtitle, whatever they call that thing. So yeah, StreamYard's still sponsoring half of the show.
Oh, good. Thanks, StreamYard, sponsoring the Backpack Show. Chris is still the Backpack Show. Oh yeah. I could fix that.
Fix it.
So tell me a little bit more about ideas that we want people to bring to us.
So we're calling this segment that we need the most help with Over to You. And if you remember the Johnsonville StreamYard sort of sponsorship that we did, we sent Johnsonville sausages to a bunch of folks. And Valentina was one of them. Sister Ann Flanagan was one of them. The Bourbon Bohemian. They all showed us what they did with the sausage. So they would show us cooking it, serving it, making, I think Sister Ann made pizzas out of it for the whole convent. And that was one of my favorite things we ever did. And it was sponsored. So that's told me that what's fun about this for me is staying engaged with you, staying engaged with the community. So if there's anything that you're doing that lights you up inside, that's the stuff we want to see. If you're like, oh my God, I know it's nerdy, but I love, making muffins for this bakery, even though I'm not a baker, they let me like come in and help because I'm a nerd or whatever weird things you're doing. Or not weird. I happen to be weird. Volunteering, any kind of thing you're doing that lights you up inside, that's what I want to see.
I just want to point out, I just went to look and change my little title thing, but please read where it says it. Chris Brogan, not the Backpack Show.
I did that.
Oh. Don't talk to me or my dog. That was good. Fast. That was fast. That was faster than me. My dad points out that our neighbor in Bangor, Maine, when you were 2 years old, me when I was 2 years old, never combed or brushed the back of her head because she only saw headshots straight on. Did headshots straight on. Great. Oh, dear Lordy. Greg says, Mike Wazowski. Greg says, your comment on the garbage truck brought back a memory from 1999 CTIA in New Orleans. At midnight, Bourbon Street was jammed with people, and a high school band was marching down the street. And just before Fat Tuesday, at 7 a.m. the next morning, it was totally deserted as I headed to church for Mass. It might be interesting to contrast the two sides of something, bright and then dark, busy then barren. Yeah, no, totally. And I have photos from June. So anyway, Kerry, thank you for laying out what that was. We don't have a really good outro, so I'm gonna put a little screen up